And it is Thursday night, so we're going to talk shop. So, especially for new folks, um, yeah, get the questions ready because this is when we can really spend some time because they slow down, and during the day, things can be pretty fast and furious because we got a lot to do. I just made a video on our Facebook, and so I do that almost every night on the T3 Live Facebook page. If you didn't know that, you can go there. What I talked about was a day like today when we know SPY is inside day. You know you're going to get chopped, right? Until it can get out of there. We know that we have no futures help. And sometimes that's a good thing, all right? So sometimes what that means is that the natural buyers and sellers and stocks and sectors can't hide behind the futures because they're not doing anything. And you'll see the heavy rotation during these days, which we've seen. This is going to be a very good day. The problem is right now we're coming into earnings season, so nobody's doing anything, right? So all the other sectors are doing the same thing inside on all the sectors. So since we know that, we want to pull back as soon as we can. So we stick with the gapper list. There's some nice ones on the opening, that BGNE and the ESIO and stuff like that. But after that, really need to be aware of the flip, all right? More than ever when you're an inside day. That SPY 60. Really need to be aware of the flip because we know it's doing nothing. And so this was like our power hour. And then for folks who are just back, like Michelle and stuff like that, or just back, we can also use these scenarios that we know too. So here, when we had the hour here, we had the hammer, it goes up a little bit. That's a 2, takes out one side of the range. And then 2 again, it starts motoring here. And then as soon as that flip comes in, you got to know about that, right? And be like, are we going to take this inside day out? Now it pokes up a little bit, but as soon as it comes back into this range, it's over. It's back into the inside day and back down, right? And so that was good for SVXY, right? That was a power hour. But as soon as that flip hit, I'll make sure you guys see this. As soon as that flip, look at that. It went from the lows, closed on the high, and then a couple pikers take it up, and then bam, right back down, right? So on these kind of days, really got to know when the flip is going to occur. If you got questions, start typing them in because it's not just me always talking. I gotta hear from the people what's going on. That's what we do here. Because that charter ended up being pretty good for a slow day, but that's because we have combinations, right? And combinations I talk about all the time where you can get caught up where you're just looking at a 60 or just looking at a 15. But when we have the longer term stuff, the combinations is what's going to help us. The Rev Strat month charter down here, and it's already in force and coming after these guys. And then the momentum hammer day, which was right against the inside week. All right? That type of combination is what you definitely need on a day like today. So I just wanted to start off with that. That is in our thing. So if you guys got questions, let them rip because that's what tonight's all about. Because during the day, I have a hard time finishing a sentence without calling something out. And Merck. So another thing I want to be very clear about too is that on a day like today, it's very easy to get caught up in the vortex. And what I mean by the vortex is the intraday chart. That's why whenever you look at something, at least pull up that monthly, weekly, daily 60, 30, 15, 5. Have a screen that whenever you look at any stock, you look at all of that, right? Because that's going to bring you back to the vortex stuff, right? And be like, it's not really a big move because software is going to present it like a big move, right? If you go down like a 5-minute chart or whatever, like, ooh, and well, this one actually did move, but if you go to SPY, right? Oh, man, they're really killing them. I'm like, really? Killing them? I don't know about that. Because if you go to the daily, you'd be like, it's just doing nothing, right? And so Merck did this. Here, let me link this stuff here. What Merck did, we have our gap up, right? Oh, I'm going to move this monthly. So what did Merck do? For the month, Merck's on the comeback trail, right? Go down, triangulate out, coming back up, trying to go after these guys. For the week, goes back red, so we get conflict. That's a problem, right? Then for the day, goes inside day and down. And so on the inside day, we're in the scenario 1, 2. The objective of this is to take this and that out, which it did. Now, if it keeps going, all the better, right? It's important to understand the objective of what the setups are going to do, right? And that's why if they're too tight, you can take it. You just have to continue to defend like hell. So once this gets back into here, it did what it's supposed to do. Anybody stopped here, or getting short here or here, goes underwater when it gets back into here or here, right? So all it did was really just disseminating the gap. So tomorrow, this thing could easily go right back up, triangle them out, and then come back and go after this and this. See? Make sense? And that goes to looking at all those time frames. Cool, cool. What do I know to be true about SQ? All right. So SQ, what's SQ doing? SQ on the month. 2, shooter. 2, shooter exhaust. 2, reversal back up. So long as it's above 39.79, which it is on the month. For this week, it's in conflict. It's down on the week. It's right on the week. That's a problem, right? Come next week, you could go 2, 2, 2, and start ripping and go try and get measured move out of this thing, right? This would be your consolidation area up in here. Chop them up, stop them out, and go. So next week, we would definitely be looking at this, all right? Because you'd have that 2, 2, 2 monthly in force, and also on the weekly, all right? For the day, it's either a rev strat back down tomorrow, take them out, and try and go after them, these three. But it's also a 2-day pattern. Haven't gotten out of here, right? So it's also a 2-day scenario 1 if we can take this out to the upside. Make sense? See what I'm saying? Cool. All right. And so the thing is, when you see these multiple inside patterns, that's when you're really going to get chopped up if you go down on time frame. If you go down to the 30 and the 15, you're going to get murdered on this stuff, right? When you're still inside on this thing. And that's why you got to know that. You have to know when that flip is, and you got to know that this condition exists. 60-minute, we prefer the bottom of the hour. Yes. Okay. Amazon on a 5-minute chart. Okay. First of all, Amazon inside day, right? Doji on the day, doing nothing. You get killed in there, right? Okay, so fiver. So another thing you want to know, like when it's slow like this, 2-gil, is when you pull it all up. Yes. Do we want to be long this thing because of the inside month and up? We do. The problem is, are we in conflict this week? It's profit taking? We are, because there's a red on the week. That's a problem. The day is still inside, right? So now if we go down to the fiver, you said 940. Up into here, momentum hammer. Okay, so here's what I'm seeing. Correct me if I'm wrong. Here's the opening, chop them up, spit them out, inside fiver down, come back up. 2, 2, 2, 2, 2, 2, momentum hammer. 2, momentum hammer, doesn't, it goes 2, 2, then 1, inside 5, and gone. And then the 2, 2 reversal there. Am I in the wrong time frame, or where are you? Guess that depends on where you are. What time it is? 8:40. Okay, so okay. So here's the opening. Okay, so 840. Okay, inside bar goes up, comes down rev strats, yes, into the lows, but then comes back into lower lows, triangle, hammer counter shooter, right? Then tries to go back up, new fiver, slight higher high, potential 3, so it's 2, 2, 2, 2 back up, 2 back up, 2 back up, 2 back up. So let me see. Which was the bar that went above the ref strat. And so, am I clear on this? Or are we still trying to figure this out? Because what I'm seeing here is this thing. Well, I mean, this is going to be a chop shop on the way down. It's still an inside day. So here, no, I want to make sure you get it. I definitely want to make sure you get it, because here, what it appears that it did, appears that it did, is that it ticked down, went up, and came all the way back on a shorter term time frame, right? And so this is a 3. It's an outside bar. And the important thing to remember about a 3 is once it's a 3, it can't not be, and then it can do that. So on a sub level, once it went up here and came back into here, it's still a 3. You could go after it on a shorter term time frame to come all the way back down. Then it goes 3-2, the triangle expando, but you're going into the lows, right? And anytime you go to the lows, you're at exhaustion risk, which it does and comes back up. So this would have been tough. So if we go back to the 15er to open the day, $15 closed out as an outside, so it goes 3-2, 2, 2 exhaust, and then 2 reversal there, then 2 continuation, 2 continuation, 2 continuation, 2 continuation, then 2 reversal to the downside, then another 2, and then 2 reversal. You're going to get ground up in these tight ranges. Back in the range, you got long on the next bar. Okay, so you went off the hammer counter shooter right here. Yeah, you can do that. I get that. You just have to defend it right here. Right. But that's what I'm telling you is that this is more likely to happen when we're in conflict. We do have that month, right? At the time that occurred, at the time this was occurring, the weekly, the daily, and the 60 were red. Right? That's a problem. Right? Yeah. So let's go to the 60. So when you were doing that, the 60 stayed red. And then as soon as it didn't, it went hammer counter shooter and went right back up. There. So see when I was talking about the importance of the flip? You were too early in the battle. This thing's still puking. As far as we know, it's still red on the day, red on the 60. But as soon as that 60 goes green, now it's go time. Right? If you go back to that 5, this is the flip bar right here. Right here. 2, 2, 2, 2. Right there on the flip. That's where the 60 turns back green. Then you go after the day. Right? To try and go back even. So time frame continuity matters. All of it matters. That's going to help you big time. And that's just what I was talking about, the vortex. Right? There's a difference between that 60 being green and that daily being green or red. And that's why that flip, you can just go right after on the flip and be like, right now it changes. Right? Yeah, Gilbert, now you know. That's a good thing. You're going to get this. You're going to kill this. You're going to kill these things. right? Once you know this, that's why we're going through this. Yeah, it's going to be great because the great thing about it is most people don't understand when things occur, and being like everything's about to change. When? 3, 2, 1, now. Right, right now. All right, that's a good thing to know. Hi, Anna. 232. Well, a combo would be multiple time frames, but right. So 232. I'd have to think of what we did today. So a 232 can be a trending, then an outside bar, right? And then the 2 can either go, let's see what UTEX. Okay, so UTEX here, daily. Man, he's good. I can just pull that right up. So it can be a couple of things. So here, this is a 2 because it took out the highs. It was a 2 that turned into a tree, right? 2, 3, 2, right here. And so when this is going 3-2, it's game on to the downside depending on what else is going on and everything else. But as soon as it gets back into here, it's hammer counters 3. That's 2, 2, 2, 2. Potential reversal, but it didn't come back in. So now it's potential 2, 2, 2 reversal back down, which is actually not a reversal. It's a continuation of this, right? The 2, 2, 2 continuation. 2, 2, 2. Shooter counters hammer. Make sense? And the beautiful thing is this is clear as day when you pull out all the longer term charts on what's going on and whether I want to be involved. Because we'll always know what the scenario is on longer term charts, right? So UTEX conflict with the month, right? The weekly's potential 3, right? So at this point, opening on the highs of the week on a week that just ripped, we would prefer this thing to puke, right? And now we got the daily shooter counters hammer. If they bring him in tomorrow, oh yeah, UTEX right here. Make sense? Anna? All right, well, that's why we record this. No, Anna. Let me be very clear about the scenarios. Okay. No. It's just the same as the strategy, right? So there's only 3 scenarios, right? If you haven't watched the video, watch the video. But there's only 3 possible scenarios that can possibly play out, right? Scenario 1 is inside bar, right? Could not take highs or lows. That's scenario 1. Scenario 2 is the bar takes out one side of the range. Now it can take out one and set up rev strat, but it's still a 2 because it only took out one side of the range, right? And scenario 3 is taking out both sides of the range here, both sides of the range. And the good thing about this is you can't go 3 unless you go 2 first, right? And so when we combine the time frames, right, we know that a 3 is a fractal triangle. So as soon as this thing gets back in here and goes potential 3, we can go after this thing and start nailing it to the downside, right? Yeah, no, it's cool. It's the strat on steroids now. So here, so it goes 3, then it goes 2. This is still a 2, right? Because it took out only one side of the range. This is a 2 because it only took out one side of this range, right? So, but it's hammer counter shooter. Those are actionable signals. So 2, 2, 2 back in the direction of this, if it whatever side this takes out, right? So if it takes out the upside here, it's still a 2 reversal here, 2 continuation back up into the 3, which we know is the triangle. So we can go either way on this, right? Yar. And UTEX, you're going after this below 134.36, low of this, Right, right there. Good, good. Yeah, like I said, it's like when I first showed this to people, they're like, "Oh no, we got to relearn the strat." I'm like, "No, you don't. We're just explaining it better. It's just a lot more clear." Stop. You're going to use 1 cent. Whack that thing, and if it comes back, that's your level, right? As long as it's below that, you're looking to whack that thing, right? And then you can also look for multiple setups. So let's say that it opens up and doesn't take it out yet. You look at the shorter term setups. Do you have any 60, 30, 15 fivers that's going to do that, right? Because then we can use the other participants to do it for us. That's why we want combinations, right? That's the reason you want combinations. I want to use a couple traders or 10 traders to trigger 100 traders, right? We can do that. That's why we look for those combinations. These guys go underwater here. We get underwater here. Yeah, the 1 penny, you don't be afraid of getting stopped out and getting back in, right? Because what you're going to see when we're right, we're real right, right? And that's why I don't want to I don't want to have any losses. I don't want to play around. This should just go. We should just crush this thing, right? Now you do have a green month, so you'd have to be aware of the flip. But ideally, what we want is on the week, we want to go take these guys out and go 3 on the week, right? 132.20. Now we've only got a day to do it, but the 3 is a possibility. That's something we'd want to know about, right? Because the 3 we know is potentially the biggest move. It's a triangle. And then if it does it, then it can go 3-2 and triangle expando the next week, right? Because you always want to look down the road too. Not only do you want to look at all the time frames, you want to look down the road as if this works, what will it create? Will there be more opportunity for me? Because we want to add to things, right? Because a lot of people will take trades that are just, oh, it's just a scalp, hit and run. Okay, fine. But ideally, that's not what we want. We want it to create, like, say, if we take something that's already longer term, inside and up, 1, 2, and if we take a shorter term, that it's going to create a rev strat or a 3, stuff like that. You always want to be looking down the road. So first things first, you want to see things only in terms of the universal truths in the scenarios. And you want to be able to be forward looking. If this works, what will it create? If this works, what will it create? Right? Because a lot of times guys will take scalps or whatever that if they don't get out, they're going to get slaughtered. Right? And be like, oh, I think I'm just going to take this for like 10, 20 cents. And they don't get out. And if it goes against them, it creates another rev strat against them and just bam, bam, bam. So you always want to be forward looking on what's going to happen afterwards. Confused about drawing the triangles on stocks that don't have clear highs and lows to trade against, rippers and pukers. Right, those are going to be they're going to be much shorter term. That's why you'll look at the longer term stuff. And when it's really moving jack, it's going to be on a 1er and it's going to be a 3 and you won't be able to see it. Right? You just know that it's there. And that's how the scenarios clean that up. Right? Any 3 is a fractal triangle, even on a 1-minute chart. It's a sub 1-minute triangle. And so if things are really going, those triangles are going to be Lilliputian, right? Until they ain't. And they will grow eventually. Add under what circumstances? Good question. Yeah. Now, adding is a matter of how much evidence do we have that something's going to continue, right? Do we have full time frame continuity? Is who's in control of this thing? And we prefer to use the actionable signals, but you can use the scenarios to just go after it. Not everybody's got the mental fortitude to do that type of battle where you're going after everything, because you can, once we identify a triangle, you can just start banging the 2s. Every 2, bang, 2, 2, 2. As long as your exit, your stop is at a profit, I have no problem with you banging ads. No problem. That if you, as long as the full boat goes out at a profit, I have no problem with that. Because what you're going to see is once you understand this stuff and how when 3s kick in, how powerful they can be, that everybody's had small winners, big losers. This will make your winners so huge that it just dwarfs all that stuff, right? Because all it takes is a month, really. When you if you're really a nutcase on it, but we do prefer the actionable signals, right? Was that BHGE this morning? Or no, that's the BGNE. So BGNE this morning was beautiful, beautiful. I'll show you things that people never, most traders never do. Get your gap up, right? Goes inside in the five. You buy 113.41 is your first buy, right? Right. You're stopped even. Let it go. Momentum hammer 116. You're in at 116.01. Inside. You're in again at 117.10. Right. I have no problem with that. And then you can stop at the whole full boat even up in here, right? You can say anytime after that, if this thing starts potential three, I'm gone, right? And that's up 1925. You can say any lower low. That here's 1776 and out. Or you can put your stops even on everything and just say even, and see what happens. Right. A potential three. So what we want to do is, like, let's say that UTEX on the week, as soon as that thing opened, it opened on the highs of the week. It opened on the highs of the week. The butt high. So as soon as that happened here, not only did you have potential 3 day, you have potential 3 weeker. Right? If it goes 3 weeker and then goes 3-2, you can really pound this thing. Right? So as soon as this thing opened, here, here's your 3-2, 2, whale, whale the 2, 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 outski. Right? Or, like I said, you can leave all this stuff in there and look to go after it again if it goes 3 on the week. Now, the thing about the 2 is it has to go, right? Two's got to go, right? And remember, everything's got to be at a profit, right? The whole position needs to be at a profit. Then you can go nuts. Yeah, because I don't have a problem being up and only being up a little. That doesn't bother me. Losing bothers me. and but but watching people continue get out of something all the time. They get in and they just sell, sell, sell. I'm like, why are you selling? This thing's working. I'm like, it's prudent. No, it's not. The way you make a lot of money is pouring it on when you're right. Right? And some people think that, oh, I have more conviction. I'm just going to start with a bigger position. That's stupid. That's stupid. You're just throwing more risk on the table right out the chute before you know you're right. What we're doing is we know we're right. Right? We know we're right. I want to be as short as I could ever be. On the daily, no, it doesn't go 3 until it takes this out. But because it's red on the week and the day in the 60, that's the condition it's going to be in if this thing's going 3. And once it gets back into this range, then the 2 is challenged because you're not outside of that range anymore. Right? So as soon as it gets back in here, you can hit it right as soon as it comes back through this. Ready? 2. Potential 3. Whale on it. And then as it travels through here, you're still whaling on it because you've got time frame continuity going your way. And top of the triangle risk, too. You're into higher highs. Anticipating its potential. We don't have to anticipate. All we say is that if 3 is going to occur, these are the conditions it would be in if it's going to occur. So we're still going to be aware of the new flip on the 60s and stuff like that. But these are the conditions it would have to be in if it's going 3. Without question. If it's going 3, it would have to have this criteria, and it's got it. and we know we're going to get paid if it goes three. Right? We like threes. Three's good. Two potential three, yeah, or back into the range. For someone who's using those methods, which time frame? All of them. You want to make sure that everything's lining up, right? And check with me, Omaha. Check with me. What are you looking at? I'll tell you. I'll bring it right up to you and be like, here's what you're up against, all right? And you know, kicking back to 60s, 30s, and 15s is fine, right? 60s and because the 60 gives you so much time to evaluate what's going on everything else, right? And sometimes if it takes a while, and don't always get excited listening to me or watching what other people are doing. All right, this is you, and it's me and you working together always, right? And that's why if you kick back to the 30s and 60s, yeah, I mean you might hear, you might have a day like today where all the action's right in the opening or stuff like that, right? But as long as it's consistent, as I say all the time, as long as you're consistent at one aspect of this, you can branch out forever. I mean, you can see how much there is to do. You could live a million years and maybe not get it all, right? But as long as you're consistent in one thing and be like, this is what I do, and this is what I do. And once you get that down, you can even get better at that one skill and then move on, right? The flip's bottom of the hour, but we're still aware of the top of the hour too. Yeah, you're trying to do too much, and it's exciting because you're seeing it all. I get that. You don't have to do that. Don't do it. Right? Train your mind to see it. Right. And like from the weekend video and the nightly video, just focus. If I call an audible and say no, we're going here, have your ideas from the weekend and be like, I'm going over here, or I'm just going to stick on this gapper list. I'm just going to know sexy and VXX better than anybody, and that's fine. Sexy was a great move, right? You can take a 60 and do the short stuff, but 135, Scott, man, you're going to be really moving on that, right? You might not have time to Omaha me on that. Watching too many, right? That's going to happen. A target intraday tomorrow? It depends. We have to see how it sets up. Ideally, we're going to take these guys out, right? Ideally, we want to take them out and look for setups in here to take that out. But in this market, who knows? These things go ripping, right? Oh, I see. On the 60 coming down, the two potential three. Yeah, the target is to go three. Yeah. No, we're going three. And so once we go three, then we don't know. Right? Then the problem is, like I said, once a three, always a three. Then you better not come in here. I don't want you coming back up on this thing because you go two, three, stay at three, and go right back up and go Momo Hammer three on me and run up me arse the next the next day. Right? So it's got to stay below there. Right? At least on this day. Yeah, yeah. So if I was in here, this would spook me. The hammer counters outside, I would have been spooked in here. You bet. You bet. But if I'm in from up here, I could suck it up and say, all right, prove it. Open on the highs of the week. Prove it. Because I know also, as what I was saying, if you look down the road, all right, when this was hammer up into here, but I'm up in here and I'm still good, and it's an inside day, we can expect reversals an inside day. I can suck it up and say prove it. Because what I do know is if you do come back down here, you're going to go shooter counters hammer, and then I'm going to really wail on you. Then we're going to get medieval on you. Let's try and stop Rob out. Okay. Did you stop him out? Nah. Tomorrow I'm gonna bring back my big brother. So always, what can something create? What's happening, and what could happen? Right? Like I said, a three can't not be. Can't not be. An Ulta. Ulta. So Ulta. Here's the problem with Ulta. Ulta for the month. It's a two. That's good. So two triangles they out. Right, these guys are gone. So you need to go after this thing here. That's where you're going. But you're running out of time on the month. Oh, I'm sorry. You got plenty of time on the month. On the week, here's the problem. 2 week pattern. You're inside week and up. That's good. You're just running out of time. So far, not powerful to take these guys out. Ergo, if you look at UTEX, if this thing falls down tomorrow, this thing could go shooter counters hammer 2 bar inside week, right? Then they can take this thing baby down. Or it stays up here and can go, but it's about to exhaust. So it would be a 2 week one, scenario one, because it couldn't get out of the mother bar. This is very important to remember. Once something goes scenario one inside, right? And then goes two, which it eventually has to, or not trade again. It has to get out of the bar that made the scenario one. If it doesn't, this reverts back into a one. Now, just like looking at the combinations of shorter term and longer term, it may also be something. It might be shooter counters hammer. That's still real. It's also a one, which means that if let's say this goes shooter counters hammer, you can go after the shooter and you can go after the hammer, because that's a multiple bar pattern. That's still reverts into a one, so you can hit it when it takes that too, right? So on the daily, inside day. The inside day for all the marbles, if you will. Okay. LMT. LMT. Okay. LMT. What do we know about LMT? Aerospace defense. All right. It is monthly Momo hammer up. All right. That's a two. At 333, I'll have you know. Weekly is red conflict. That's a problem. Right? No touchy. Right? Took out the high, so it's still a two. Right? Still making higher highs and higher lows, albeit red. It's in conflict. That's a problem. Therefore, chopped up 2 day inside pattern. Right? So just like I said, here. Got out of here, couldn't get out of this thing. Potential rev strat day down tomorrow. Right? That you'd want to take this, that, and them out. Right? First things first, you take out the lows. Right? But you're in conflict, and that's a problem. So what we do in conflict, if you must, is that who's in control per the course. Right? As long as the monthly's red, I mean, even if the monthly's green, if the weekly and the daily and the 60 are red, they're in control. The monthly buyer's not around, right? Yeah, short. Unless you can take out that week to the highs, right? It could take multiple pattern. This is above that. You can try and go long if you want, but it's 335.92. You're just working hard at it, so. Yeah, yeah. I have no problem, Isa, with pulling back until they let the dust settle a little bit. Yeah, I have no problem with that. Because when things are active, it's going on all day. And we gain more information as the day goes on, right? Because if you waited today, I might have said don't do anything. Or, as long as this thing's going inside, sexy, baby, VXX. Okay. Blue. What do we know about blue? Blue. Month. That baby's going inside month almost for show. All right, that's a big month, right? That's going inside almost for show. For the week, 3. That's good. Triangle they out, 3. Right? So when it came back through here, as a 3, it gave you the 60. Right there. Bam, 3. Right? So that can't not be outside. Next week, you'd need to get outside of this and you'd need to stay out. Right? You do not come back in. For the day, triangle they out. 2, 2. Now you got these guys to go after. So that's good. There's still this stuff to go after. Yeah. BGNE just went through it. Like I said, here. The inside 5, the inside 5, the inside 5. That's okay. Inside 5, up. Momo Hammer 5 up. Inside 5 up. Right? You can stop that once you have that second ad. Anytime it has potential 3 coming back in here. Or you can go off the lows right here, lower lows here. Or you can leave your stops in at all your entries and just let it do its thing. Right? If it really goes, it really goes. Right? The problem was doing this. It reached all the objectives. It went into the highs, right? And so this is really important for everybody to know. The problem of going into higher highs or lower lows, the opposite side has nothing to be against. We did what we're supposed to do. The objective was to take these guys out and them out, which you did, right? And that's where, once you understand the triangles, that's what gives us the big magnitude, right? When you come ripping back through tries a la Fleur on the monthly, here you go, right? This is what you want. Not blasting into the highs. That's a minefield. But when you start chugging through a triangle like this is what you want to see. Are these signals chugging back through ranges? Oh, this thing's a piece of crap. Inside month and down. Yeah, it's crap. Yeah, let's get rid of it. Oh, man, let's dump it all. Inside month. Okay, let's go the other way. Oh, man, this thing's going to roll over. It's crap. I'm short against that. I'm short against that and that and that and that and that. Fuel for the fire. Right? And Apple, so Apple, you're in the highs. You know, you're going into the highs, man. And so that's where triangle magnitude matters. You got to know about how to use the triangle magnitude, right? Where are these potential threes occurring, right? So all things matter. Time frame continuity, actionable signals as far as the scenario is concerned, all that stuff matters. And that's why when you pull it all up, you'll see it and be like, what's my problem with Apple? Potentially going into new all-time highs. Is that a problem? It is. That's a problem. Top will try. Top of the try to you. Okay, so in the first 15 today, okay. First 15, triangle layout, and you're like, all right, let's go to the highs, which it eventually did. But chop them up, spit them out. And if you go to the 60, you can see this. 60, look at this. Couldn't get out of the. It goes outside 60. What was it? Outside 60 to open the day. Can't get out. Can't get out. Reverts to a 1. Reverts to a run. Reverts to a 1. Takes out the high. Right? So whenever it takes out the high, now you know you're in trouble if it doesn't stay up there. Because you got this multi-bar pattern. Now you can come ripping back through these guys. IBM Puker? Sure. So IBM, how much is IBM down? Like $8? Yeah, triangle the out. Triangle the. So today they triangled the out to make sure nobody's in for it. Coming back down through this stuff. If you go to the monthly, they triangled these guys out. And now the opening of the month, 154.50. So that's still positive on the month, as I believe. I'm not sure where it is right now, but weekly going into these highs, through them tries. So the weekly going to go back red, depending on where it opens, right? Go back red. Now you're going to have this big potential shooter, come back thing, or go 3 on these guys. Go 3, and then you can come trying back through all this stuff if it's a real debacle. And on the day, it'll open as the 2, 2, 2 reversal back down into this stuff. VRX, I believe, is presently quartering up on the longer term stuff, right? So on the month, T 3, 2, 2. Potential 2 reversal hammer goes up. 2, 2, 2 reverse. 2, 2. Okay, but if we get to the it's fun. Okay. So right now, it's a 2 potential 3 on the month. It's still green, so time frame continuity is positive, right? So it could re-break, but it did go higher high and come back into this range. So it's a potential red flag. This baby goes red, that's something you really want to know about, because then that's the condition it would be when it goes 3. Weekly. Inside week to the downside. That's scenario 1, scenario 2. And this is how you can identify a reversal. One of the ways you can identify a reversal. What color is the mother bar of the 1? The 1, green. Continuation would be green. Reversal, red. Green, 1, 2. 2, 1, 2 reversal. All right. The New Yorker. So right now, so long as this is below here, for tomorrow, 2267. Reversal. However, it's also going to revert because it didn't take out the highs or the lows here. 2 week 1. Daily. The 2 reversal, the 2 continuation, 2 continuation. Now, if you take this out tomorrow, that's a 2-2 reversal back to the upside. Triangle them out. Triangle these guys out. Hammer somewhat, and then take them and go after that and that if it goes back to the upside, because you're inside quarter and up. Make sense? Triangle these guys out. Triangle these guys out. Triangle these guys out. And then, boom, take that and go triangle them out and go right back up. Which it simply could do because it's a 2 week inside pattern. And anytime you're inside on anything, you can expect reversals, right? That's why you want to know about things that are still inside and changes in continuity, because at any time they could turn it right back around because it's consolidating. That's the important part about understanding what a 1 and a reverting back to still being a 1 is. It's consolidating. That means the ranges are getting tighter, not bigger. And that's why you get chopped up on an inside day in the SPY or whatever you may be trading if you never looked at longer term charts. Sometimes they whip, sometimes they don't. It all lines up with this stuff. Yeah, stay away from inside days. Oh, yeah. Because they could turn into multiples, they could turn into all these kind of things. And that's why, that Tesla's starting off as an inside year, and Tesla still moves around, but it's a lot different ball game when Tesla was Rev Strat year last year, right? Until that changes, you might get chopped up more in Tesla than we did last year because we had everything in force, right? Because if you're going to trade an inside day, you want to have a rev strat and you want to have it to go full time frame continuity, because if it's not going to be an inside day, that's the condition it's going to be in if it's not going to be, right? Win? Oh yeah, we've been marching the win all the way up. We wholeheartedly agree with that. If you look at the big triangle. Sure could. This is because this triangle here, these lows were higher than that. This is the upper level triangle on the monthly. Right, Jim? And there you go. Triangle the out, triangle the out, triangle the out, triangle the out. Get. Yeah, I don't know about this year, but hopefully. But yeah, we're looking at that. We've been aware of that for quite a while. Jim got the inside month right here. That was 100.66, so he got in at 6.7. Is still holding. And like I said, once it gets outside of there, he don't care about triangling them out up here because he sees the big triangle up in here. Right? It says let it rock. Prove me wrong. SE. Limited data is a problem, right? So SE, it's brand new, so somewhat new. Once again, it takes the month but comes back into the range. That's 2. I mean, that's 1, 2. Going to revert back into a 1 because it can't get outside of this thing. It goes potential 3 on the month for the 1 bar rev strat. That's a problem. Let's go to the weekly. Here's your 3, 2, 1, 3, 2, 2, 1, went 2, potential 3, didn't take it. And so one of the important things when it's even, what's important to look at too is once this thing goes 3 like this, it doesn't quite make it to 3. The previous bar is important again because that's the range that was going after the 3. Then you're looking for the 2-2 to finish him off, right? The 2-2 reversal to finish him off because that's also the triangle because you take out one side. So the potential 3, that previous bar, just like in the 1 becomes important, the previous bar on a failed 2 becomes important. That's now your triangle that you're going after on the 2-2. Win, just like anything else. Find yourself a 60 and don't never got stopped out off bottom on the try. Like I said, you can hold forever as long as you don't get stopped out. That doesn't bother me. And then, so here, bottom of the try hammer. Maybe stop you out in there. Or if you had said, I'm going to give it to the bottom hammer, or whatever you want to be, or it goes 2 right here and doesn't stop you out right there. You leave it even, and if you want, parabolics. And parabolics, remember, are not a hard stop. It just shows you the passage of time. Like when people use their hard stop on their moving averages because they don't know what they're doing, you don't have to do that. So here, if you're going to swing this like forever, let's go off the weekly. And so what you want to look for, especially, and this is important in the VIX products. Let me show you that too. Right? Is anything that we know in a longer term time frame is moving to the upside or whatever, you look for the sell signal on the parabolic because that tells you it's time to get long. It's like, oh, it stopped them out. I'm like, did it? As soon as that thing starts going hammering back up, you know this thing's going to flip right back up. And you can use your weekly parabolic or however you want. But one of the importance I wanted to point out here too is for the VIX products, it's especially true. VXX, anytime this thing reverts to a buy on the PSER, anytime this thing goes below here, oh, get ready, it's selling time, right? Because we know it's going down, right? We know this thing's going down. It's like, oh, it's on a buy. That's when you start to look for the sell signal. So here, right here, when this thing kicked into, right here on the weekly, right here, then you go inside week and go back to the parabolic sell, crush this thing. And that was 46.93, right? And this thing ain't coming back, right? Now you're just strat cruising, right? Yeah, right? When is a buy not a buy? When it's VXX. Quarter and year is usually in the video. I'm trying to keep that up on the video, and Hayes has got some things he's got to do, so the sheet's going to be out for a little bit, I think next week. But the macro video comes out once a quarter. Like our little UBS. Get starting off as an inside year and up. Took out the inside year. 1847, already at 1985, and paying big divvy, I think. Yeah. Another thing that's important for newer folks too, and older folks alike, always watch the video from the night before after the close. Do that, all right? Because you'll see what we were looking at and what we're talking about, right? And then what you could have done, what would have happened, right? You're going to see the scenarios, everything play out, right? What exactly do we talk about, and what happened, right? And sometimes you'll be like, oh, chop chop, and we couldn't get out of that, and blah blah. But that helps you look at and focus where we were looking, right? I would suggest you watch the weekend video twice too, but I know there's time and everybody's got lives and stuff, but that would help. It helps if you do that. Go back. What exactly were we looking at? What happened? What could we have done? Because a lot of times what you'll see is I might get excited or whatever, and then you'll lose your focus on what I told you last night, right? Yeah, good. Nice, and that's perfect. Oh, the bots? Oh, yeah, we know the bots. We know the bots. The bats. The bots. And so this is why you start at the monthly chart. Do we like the bots? Yeah, we do. Why? Two reversal. Hammer counter shooter. Go. Get. Get, boy. Right? Now, it gapped up there, but you'll still see, I think there was like some doing the robot dance right here. Robot. The bots buying the bots. Inside 30 and gone. Because it's also important to understand when you see something like this, right? When things are really grinding, like UNH today, you're gonna get killed trying to buy this. Potentially not killed, but you're gonna get stopped out a lot when you try and go after the grinders. If you don't go down to the shorter term time frames, where you may think that the 1-3-5s are only for the opening and the real active stuff. That's not true. On real grindy stuff like this, you have to come off the bottom of the triangle because the triangles are so tight, right? Because people will look at this and say, oh, there's no triangles in there. I'm like, you want to bet? This is an outside 30 right here, right? There's triangles in here. There's triangles in everything because there has to be, right? There's only 3 scenarios, 1, 2, or 3, period, right? And so once that starts occurring, as I was showing to Judy earlier, and you got to come off the lows of something and something like this, because if you go straight into the highs, it's just going to come back in a little bit, right? So if you go to the 3 minute here, you're going to see the outside 3. That's a 3, 3, 2, 2 reversal hammer right here, because then you have this 3 hammer. You're going to come back up in here. You can go after this 3 up into here. All right, the 2, 2, 2 reversal there, the 3, 2, 2, 2 reversal there. So when things are grinding, you can even go down the oneers on that, even though it seems like, how can I possibly trade a 1 minute chart on something that's just gradually going higher? You have to, because the triangles are so small, right? But if you can get in and you can survive the first attempt at trying you out, that thing ain't never coming back. They're just going to grind them all the way up. Yeah, right. Because once you fight your way in, they just do the strat cruising for you. Stocks in play, I don't have no idea what that is. That's just a T3 thing. So just put it in terms of what we know. Usually we're watching that stuff anyway. They got the pizza on there. So pizza. This was nice. Pizza right out the chute. Did the 32 on the 30. I think it was 15er. Yeah, 15er right here. It's go time. 3, 2, 2, 2, 2. three, two, bam. All right, there's a lot of good stuff in there with the 60. 60 nice and clean. The 3 2. Get. Right there. Bam. All right. Never even challenged it. And so here for the 60 minutes, and this is why up in here, once it came back into here, you can be like 3 potential 2. You just stop it when it came back in on this. But this took out 61.25, 63.45 in an hour. That ain't bad. I'll take that. How can I find those stocks that take off right at the bell and never stop until the close? Well, we'll be looking at the gappers. We certainly are looking for things that, and I'm trying to work on these scans over the weekend. Ideally, what we want is full time frame continuity where something on like the daily or the weekly immediately goes to potential 3 in the direction of full time frame continuity. Ideally, that's what we want. We got full throttle our way, and we know, and a possible 3 to give them the business on the triangle. That's something you'd want to know about. Mm-hmm. Okay, so what do we know about Shop? Shop presently is Rev Strat month up. All right, let me get the pair box out of there. It's presently Rev Strat month up. The problem is it's a multi-bar pattern. I don't. We've got things in the works, and then it's how to scan for it and fast enough and all that kind of stuff. I'm working on a bunch of things. So here, Shop went inside month. It went down. 1, 2, 2 reversal right here this month above 108.04. We'll take that, right? But it's still all in this thing, right? This is in force right now, though. If it's going to take this out, it's going to do that, and it's going to have full time frame continuity upside. If you go to the week, doji week, all right? Still a 2, right? So it comes up. Here's the 2 reversal here above 105.39 to trigger the Rev Strat monther. The 2. So it either goes 2 back down next week or 2 and starts going. Daily. Okay, 2. It's still a 2. Now the thing is, once you're 2 that gets back into the range, that's something we're going to want to know about. Because you take this out tomorrow, potentially, we take these guys out. Triangle they out, triangle they out. Right? Yeah, right. Some ugly drop of deuces are different look different than others. That's why you got to look in the turlet to see if you're healthy on your 2. Yep, and an actionable signal shooter. Right. But you're still doge on the week, so how far that's going to go, we would have to see. Medtronics, sure. Shop. Shop's not in conflict. It would actually, it would be if it goes down with the monthly. But because the weekly is a doji here at 114.65, you take this out, 114.07, control would be with the 60 daily weekly. It would be in conflict with the monthly, but they would be in control. Yeah. But you once again, because of that monthly, you'll be very aware of that 60. Any change in continuity. And Medtronics. What do we know about Medtronics? Medtronics. That is inside and up on the month. That's a 1-2. Right? Is that a good thing? It is. All right. So it goes 1-2. This is inside, right? Yep, to the tick. 84.12. Bam. Right? So the good thing about that is you take these guys out. You still got this stuff to go after. Right? Go to the weekly. 2. right? And then once you're a failed 2, you're looking to take these guys out. 2-2, take them out. 2-2 reversal back the other way. Triangle needs to grow. It did. Kicker. 2, 2, still going, right? Coming after these guys. Chugga chugga. Daily. 3, 2, potential 3 back to potential comeback after these guys, or 2 it up, which it did. So it just continued on the 2. I wasn't inside, so when it came up here now, you can see how they'll micro try them out. See this? 3, 2, potential 3 off of this 3, take them out, which it did, right? Then slight lower low 2 for the triangle need to groweth, which it did on the 2, the 2, the 2, and the 2. Take these guys out. Right, so being able to see these things in triangle terms, which a lot of us have been watching for a long time, now we can further quantify it with the scenarios. Right, so most important, the mother bar of anything that's a 1, got to get taken out or you revert to a 1. Right. No, inside day does not mean powerful move to come. No, can mean lack of interest. That's a problem. Right. Good thing for X here, 2 on the month, and this thing's been a lot higher. This been, we know that, right? It's still 2 on the month. Doji week, that's a problem. It's also 2, which could potential next week take this out and triangle them out, or has to stay 2, right? Doji on the week doing nothing. Inside day after an outside, 3, 1, 1, doing nothing. Yeah, no, you always want to have triangle magnitude because that's what gives you all the gusto, right? And like obviously we've been in a momentum market with with the SPY and all that kind of stuff, and that'll work. But anytime you have a change in continuity when you're going into higher highs, you got to be aware of that too. But when you start ripping through the triangles, yeah, that's the real bulldozer coming through. Because you all got all the guys who got cremated on the way down now want to short the bounce. And we take care of them a second time if they've got any money left. This thing's going to roll over. It's a pig. I just got killed the whole way down. That's how they think because that's how you used to think. Because one of my friends in the office here, he was one of my friends in the office here is like when I talk to him, and when he comes in, he's like, he likes to talk to me because, what we're saying is like this is not charting. This is using chart visualizations to understand psychology, right? That's what we're doing, as opposed to guys who are like, this looks like a head and shoulders because it looks like a head and shoulders. And I'm like, no, this is telling you where people are right and where they are wrong and how aggressive the buyers are, right? TBT, sure. So TBT, basically not volatile enough to be doing anything, right? Like the TLT, right? Getting chopped up on the 2-2-2D2 chop shop, right? But when we're so inclined, 2, 2, 2, 2, 2 back above 35.53 by 3 cents on the month, right? And what that means is if you got that tight on the month, it's doing nothing. Right? When you get down to the time frames, now you have an inside week. Fair enough, inside week. If it's going to go, that's a 1. But these guys are getting murdered in here. If T-Mobile is trading the TLT real well because he knows the triangles. But if you didn't, you get killed. Trying to directly trade this thing. There you go. 2, 2, 2, 2, 2, 2, 2, 2, 2, 2, 2, 2, 1, 2. He's murdered. AVGO? Yeah, AVGO looking like this. So it was good because it was daily hammer, which was here. 3, 2. Our objective was to take out these guys. Triangle needs to grow, which it did. Right? And you got you're back into another 3. Here's the thing. We want to get out of here. The 1 monther. How do we get out of here? All right? So you got to take out 275.70 on the month to go 1, 2 on that for the week. You want 1, 2. So next week you want to go 2. Your objective is to take these guys out at least, which can then go up and potentially trigger the month. All right? You're also reverting to a 1 if it takes this out, because these guys are both inside of this. Once again, you'll see all those triangles on a daily. All right. So the good thing was about this daily here, triangle day out, and this triangle is higher than all this stuff, right? Then you can come after this and have this outside bar, this 3, be the middle of the new try, right? Smaller try comes down, bigger try, and come ripping through these guys and stick it to them to the upside. If you go to the 15er, you're going to see how this. Oh yeah, you want to make sure nobody's in for the real move. Have your stock do this. When it does this, guess who's on the do not trade list of a bunch of guys? And they would never touch it in a million years up here. We know we can, right? Because that's happened to you too, right? I'm never trading that thing again. I'm certainly not paying up for it. Last time I did, bam. Last time I did, bam. Well, at least you're still new, man. When you see all this stuff, that's why everybody who's been with me says, just keep seeing it. Just keep seeing it. It'll become second nature. Yeah, the bond's just tight, man. And that's another thing is if things are really going to move, like substantially, there's so much opportunity to get in on stuff. People are programmed to have to try and pick the exact spot of where it's really going to take off. I'm like, if it's really going to take off, you got a million entries. If something's really going to move, we got all day, we got all month, we got all year to go after it, right? Like last year, Netflix inside Momo hammered year up, right? If something's really going to go, you don't have to be the surgeon on the perfect entry. We got the whole time frame to go after it once things go into force. Because you're not used to seeing things how they really are, man. That's the thing. Once you see things as triangles, you'll see them everywhere. You just see them everywhere. And then you take that longer term stuff to make it more clear, right? Because if you have to squint and you got to pull out the microscope to try and see if it's a triangle or not, it's too tight. We know where the whoppers are, the home of the whopper. And like the Fleur, known about this one for months. Jim got her down here, right? Boring. Did its job though. Here you go. A little boring to trade, but right. It's up a little every day, all the time, every day, right? That's why when people are like, you can't swing Rob stuff. I'm like, sure you can. Just don't go to a loss. Right? I don't have a problem with that. Just don't go to a loss. Hey, maybe we got a little more acreage on that weekly, right? Spooked him here. Then 2, 2, 2, 2, 2, 2, 2, 2. with the old two hammer off the loose, the inside oneer scenario. Bam, back into the try. Let's put the PSAR on it and see if they stopped us out. I'm sorry, if we considered getting stopped out. We did not. Ta-da! Not to mention here, if you got the on the monthly or on the weekly, here the two reversal with shooter, right? Boom. Just leave it right here. Did it stop out? No. Guess where it stopped out? Right when we got out of our short and went long. Exact week. All right. Pretty cool, huh? Win, yeah. And Riggy is just triangle two. So win is really big. This monster, right? I'll get rid of all the noise on here. Get rid of all of them. So. So it's important that our objective isn't to go to the top of this thing, although it might. It's to take this out. Because anytime you take that out, we're going to have a new triangle line every month, wherever that high is. Right? So right now, it's just doing the chugga 2, 2, 2, 2. Right? No, it's lagging, dude. We're not using it as an indicator. We're using it to tell us the passage of time. It just reminds us of the passage of time. That's why it's not always a hard stop. Time's passed. So, as long as we're back up into this stuff and going two, now we can be aware of, it might not go 2, 2, 2, 2 all the way up. Then again, maybe it will. Because on the weekly, like I said, like on a grinder, like on the UNH and stuff like that, technically this is pretty much on a grinder on the weekly, right? And so you can just look for that 2 reversal. There's this goes 3 and stuff like that coming off the lows, right? And so that's why this was good here inside week after the 2, 2, 1, bam. Because this is what I talk about triangle magnitude. We came through this stuff. We have these guys, and these guys to go after, right? But if you chase up into here, you might have a problem because it has a habit of triangle day out, triangle day out, triangle day out, right? All right, Mel, we'll see you in the morning. And Riggy. Rig. Okay, rig for the week. Triangle back in. All right, Jack. Yeah, I'm going to eat someday, too. So, Riggy, monthly. Used to be somebody. Used to be somebody. So, your monthly try down in here. All right. That's 17. This is how the try looks on here, right? So chopping them up a bit in here, sub try. 2, 3, 2. And when you take that 2 out, your objective is to take out the 3, which it did, right? Still a 2, but that's all you, now it comes back in. So the weekly, bam. 3, 2, 2, 2, 2 reversal back into the try. All right. 2, 3, 2, 2, 2 reversal, 2, 2 triangle these guys out, which it did, and then 2, 2 reversal back into the try on the weekly. 2, 1, inside and down is a 1, 2. Then 2. By a half penny 3. And this is really something you can go after, right? When if you know this today, if this thing, the high is 1173, and then this morning it goes 1173.5 on a dark pool print, puke as soon as this thing goes through the day. Oh yeah, whale on this thing. The sub penny tick. And Facebook has the potential 322 reversal back up. Here's the problem. The monthly's Doge, right? So right now, the Facebook does this. The 2, 2, potential 3, right? Now, it's still green on the month, right? So it has the potential to re-break because it's still, the continuity is still the upside. If that changes, that would be something we'd want to know about coming back through these guys, right? But it hasn't done that yet. On the weekly, it was 3, 2, right? But it's back into the range. So it can go hammer 322 reversal and take this triangle back right back up into the highs, which it does. Oh no, it's the end of the world, bam. Oh no, it's the end of the world, bam. Oh no, it's the end of the world, bam, which it's done in the past. So we'll see how that closes out. On the daily, the gap puker, right? So this is 2 down from that. 2, 2 stops them out. 2 reversal back up, so you're still 2 to close out the week on the day, right? It's a 2 on the week, unless she takes out the highs, which is probably not going to happen tomorrow. So hopefully you're seeing these scenarios clean things up a lot, right? From always, is that a rev strat? Is that a this? Scenarios are cleaning things up real fast for you. All right, well, we're coming up on about an hour and a half, and sometimes I'm willing to go, 4 or 5 hours, but since we're recording them and it's newer, I want to make sure that everybody's not too overwhelmed with the videos in like 4 hours, and let it sink in, let it, get into your head, and keep track of the ones that you might want to go back to because we got them all on file. And all right, so last one, Leonard, what do you got? Bring me one more. Bring me one more. Bowing. Please. Boing. Inside day. Boeing monthly. Ripper. Give me 2. 2. 2. 2. 1. 2. Did we know about that? We did. 2. 2. 2. 2. Boeing also did the 1, 2, 2 rev strat reversal down here. It also hammered on here. If you'd like to go back to my YouTube, everything, when I came to T3, I said I want everything documented that I've ever said. And you go back in the last 5, 6 years before we started keeping the weekend videos to ourselves, you can go back and look at any major move and see what we said about it before it happened, right? Because it has to line up with what we said. Right? Did I talk about rev strat Boeing here? I did. Right? Did I talk about this hammer potentially coming up and triangle the day out? I did. So at this point, we go weekly. Pulls back to doji. All right? For today. Pulls back to doji. Still a 2. For the day, it's an inside day. Now, if this thing was going to be a short, you know what it would look like? It would open on the highs today, which it did, right? Can we go after it today? Yeah. Yeah, you could. Yesterday? No. You get killed. You get murdered going in here, right? But it's still a 1, right? So, as it opened today, it's got hit. The first bar of the day went 2 down right here. Bam. That's below 348. Right? Goes 2. Right? Then goes 2, 2, 2. And your challenge 2 right here is 342.45. Right there. Right? There's $6. Then it goes 2. Then it goes down. And then it goes 1. So you can reshort it 341, something like that, right? And I'm sure there's a lot of shorter term stuff on that too. But here, you're 30. Right at the shoot, 15er, 2, right here, bam. Then measured move, going for the measured move, which it didn't get. If you would have hit it there, this would have come back up and stopped you out. If you're nimble enough, you get long enough of that, and blah, blah, blah. Lots to do, and then chop, chopville. But you can see that right out the chute. That went 2. And this is why people say, oh, that last half an hour, last hour is the most important hour of the day. No, it isn't. The first hour is. Because that's our benchmark for the rest of the day. The only reason that CNBC says that is because you're P&L. Clearing company thinks that the last hour of the day is the most important. So you look for a short when it opens up near previous day's high using 2-2 down in the last. Yeah, you can do that. So not only do you go the daily on the opening, you can look at everything else and be like, what happened here? Because you know what? Because when this happened, and this was news, right? What happened is like, guess who's not short? These guys. these guys were wiped, right? Just got wiped. And you know what people who short something like Boeing have a problem doing? Shorting when it starts going down. All they know how to do is sell into strength, right? So all those guys who are trying to sell this thing, there's no way they caught this. No way. Unless they stayed short, right? But otherwise, there's no way guys who do that get in on this. Because that's not how they think. It's how we think and say, okay, now it's time. Now it's time. Here, no. Today, yes. Different ballgame. Make sense? Yeah, no, charts are continuous. Yeah, no, it's still telling the story of what happened. The battlefield is still there. You potentially have new participants and new guys doing new stuff, but yeah, no, on the opening, oh, it's still good. Oh yeah. It tells us what happened. This tells me the last 45 minutes yesterday, ain't nobody short this thing. If they are, corpses, right? Ain't nobody short. They took them out. And if I stayed long because of this, and this starts happening, I'm running to the exits too. Right? I'm out of here. I could stay long Boeing forever. Oh no! Right? Right? Okay, well, on that note, I think we'll. Do you believe all gaps must be filled? Of course not. Want me to go back 4 years in Amazon and show you that gap they ain't never going to get filled? I can do that. No. Yeah. All right, Michelle, good to have you back. And all right, that's why we have the night sessions. Always learning something new, always getting it in your head. Because once you see things this way, there is no other way. Because it's all based in truth. Period. All right? All right, right on. So I'm going to head home so I can come back. All right, everybody have a wonderful night, and we'll see you in the morning.